Alexander, the CEO of Nevalliance. Nevalliance is an educational company that that brings knowledge to you through different platforms such as events, content creation, training. And today I am super excited. I have Adrienne Garland, but before I do her intro, I just would like to share not just her, the title of this webinar, which is the visibility and credibility of basically using podcasts to get your message across. Yes? So, Adrienne, I am going to tell everyone the world about you at this moment. And when the executive team of her high-powered, New York City Fortune 500 employer told her she was too efficient and driven for the team, Adrienne Garland traded the golden corporate ladder in for the golden hammer of entrepreneurship. Now, she works with the most powerful female entrepreneurs through her media platform and podcast network, where her influence inspires thousands of women to aspire to business success. I'm so excited. It's unbelievable. At the feet of her grandfather, Adrienne first learned the rules of entrepreneurship, and in several jobs through college, she owned her intuition, business edge, and agency. She earned her MBA from NYU. So guys, she is super smart. All right, and still serves in a leadership role with the Alumni Association there. Adrienne has worked with members of the C-suites as well as emerging entrepreneurs, and her no-nonsense approach to business has taken her from cutting hair in the dorm, which I did not know before as a hustle that she did, to basically developing executives, senior leaders. All right. Adrienne's mission is not only to celebrate her own success, but also to dedicate her life and work in the light, the path for serious and driven women for every economic background, social as well. She leads media, is a part of that vision, and fiercely dedicated to widen access to opportunity for women worldwide. Adrienne, it's so wonderful for you to be here. And I know it's a mouthful that I had to read from your bio, but I had to get it out there because everyone has to know the person that is in front of them today is a credible person, and credibility is important. Am I correct?
Credibility is queen.
All right. So welcome to today's webinar. Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Neva. I am so excited to be here today. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to get my message out there about how all of you who are on the webinar today can get your message out there into the world. It is critically important, not only now, but in the future, for women to be able to articulate their value, demonstrate their credibility, and get their thoughts, ideas, and opinions out into the world. I just want to mention a little housekeeping too. Where I am, I'm having a little bit of trouble with my Wi-Fi. So if I do get disconnected, I will do my very best to pop right back in. But I'm going to go ahead and sort of take the reins here and share my screen and show you the presentation that I have all around credibility and visibility and using podcasting to achieve those outcomes. So just give me a minute here while I share my screen. Okay, so the Title of my presentation here is Be Visible. Podcasting is a path to Geneva so beautifully introduced me and read my bio, which I did have help on from somebody who is a real beautiful wordsmith. And I think that there's power in your bio. And I'm so happy that she was able to read that and show you how you can kind of give a little flair to your bio. It doesn't have to be just cut and dry on what you did. You can weave a little bit of a story in there. And I think that that's something that can help everybody to build a little interest in addition to credibility and authority. So that's me. I'm Adrienne Garland. I'm the CEO and founder of She Leads Media. She Leads Media has been producing conferences since 2013. And we produce an annual conference for women leaders and women entrepreneurs where we bring together experts that offer super practical, actionable advice with women like who are on the call today and other women who are looking to really increase their leadership and take their business to that next level. Okay. So what I would like everybody to take away from the presentation today is that podcasting can be an incredible platform from which to launch your brand. So authority and influence is absolutely critical for building your brand, whether that's your personal brand or your professional business brand. Exceptional, compelling content that you create positions you as a thought leader and an expert. And podcasting is this personal platform that will allow you to consistently create compelling content and help you to grow your audience and your influence. So those are the things that I want you to take away from this quick presentation. So why is it important for you to build your brand and demonstrate your authority? Well, because when you get that out into the world, there are people that will turn to you and ask you for your expertise. And that could be inviting you to speak at their conferences and events, asking you to contribute to articles, asking you to potentially, write a book and invite you into their world, which can help you to further your brand and your influence. And when you create this and you have this brand and you have this authority, you become a thought leader. And being a thought leader entails that you are consistently sharing your unique point of view. And that's your ideas, your insights, your opinions with your ideal audience. And I have this picture of the podcast here because it's a long form way that allows you to get your ideas out in a more expansive manner. Sometimes if you are asked, you don't always have the time to get all the nuance of your message out there. So if you create your own platform through podcast, or even to be invited to be a guest on a podcast, you are able to have a much greater length of time in order to share your opinions and go a little bit deeper. So why am I so obsessed and passionate about podcasts? Well, there are 800,000, and that's a conservative estimate, but there were 800,000 podcasts as of the end of the year 2019. I've seen statistics that there are over 1.5 million podcasts. So this is a platform that is growing, and it's an easy to get into medium that is perfect, I think, for women to leverage, because in the past, and I hope that this changes in the future, the media is very dominated by a certain group of people, and you are invited into that circle. With podcasting, you're creating your own media and your own media platform that you can build, and there's no need to be invited in. You are the media at that point. So podcasting, just a couple of quick stats to show the influence that the podcasting platform has, is 51% of Americans aged 12 and over have listened to a podcast. So more than half of Americans have listened to a podcast, and there are other countries throughout the world, for example, South Korea, where podcasting is one of the hottest mediums that is out there. And I can even, look up and send some stats out after, just to demonstrate the power of podcasting, not only in the United States, but around the world. And 74% of podcast users have listened to podcasts in order to learn something new. So if people are turning to podcasts to learn something new, just think how you can position yourself as that thought leader and as that educator, so that when people are tuning in, they can recognize you as the expert and the one who taught them something new. Podcast listening has increased dramatically over time. Now, podcasting was on the rise. It was a rocket ship, and there are new podcasts that are launching all the time. And don't be afraid of that. Don't think, well, how will I ever get my message out there in this sea of podcasts? The beautiful thing about podcasts is that people are looking for extremely niche content. So they say that the riches are in the niches. And if you can make your podcast super niche to a specific target, you can really have a great amount of influence amongst that audience. And I predict in the future, from a marketing perspective, that it's not going to be about the masses anymore. It's not going to be about reaching the millions and the billions. It's going to be about reaching your own ecosystem and having great influence over that, because people are wanting to come together and connect in a much, much deeper way than they ever have in the past. Now, I've also seen some statistics. 2 weeks ago, we actually saw the podcast listenership on the decline slightly, and that made me a little bit nervous. But it was because people were turning more toward the news to understand everything that was going on. And over this last week, we've actually seen an increase in listenership. So we're at, instead of a decline, we're at a flat point, but we see that as a trend that is going to continue, and the podcasting listenership and the launching of podcasts is just going to continue to rise, especially as people are sheltering in place and looking for things to listen to and to learn. So it's a great platform. Okay. So podcasting, I've been talking about it a lot, and I can answer so many more questions about it, but there are other ways to build and demonstrate your authority and your visibility. So what are some of those brand assets that you can create that can provide these proof points of credibility? Well, you can create compelling content, and you can create that consistently through things like writing a book, creating and contributing to articles in certain publications that reach the target audience that you're looking for. You can write a blog. You can host an event, in the future live, now virtual, like Dr. Neva is doing. You can launch your own YouTube channel. People are looking for compelling content, and don't think that you are not somebody that can put compelling content out there, and don't think to yourself, why would someone want to listen to me? People want variety. People want diversity. People want to hear your voice. So be confident in who you are and what you have to say, and do some of these things and experiment. You can also create your own community. I have my own community on a platform called Mighty Networks. and it's completely free to start it, and you can invite some friends, and it's a really great way to interact. And in fact, last night, I've been doing some things to get some engagement going, and last night I hosted a live chat where we just chatted back and forth with each other. There were about 6 of us, and we had such a fun time. We talked about so many different topics. We shared a lot of different resources, and it's something that we all agreed that we want to do in the future, because sometimes, you know, over the last couple of weeks, we're getting a little zoomed out. So I thought, why not change it up and do this live chat? And that chat, for me, I've recorded it, so I have a lot of insight into the people that were there and the content that they're looking for. So I can take that and I can potentially, you know, do some research, write an article, post it on LinkedIn. So the things that I'm doing are seeding, you know, the market and my target audience, so that I can create even more content that's even more specific for the people that I'm trying to reach. And then, of course, you can start a podcast. It's very easy. Confusing. You need some guidance, but it really is simple. Another thing that you can do in order to build and demonstrate your authority is you can gain media coverage. Now, when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about necessarily getting an article, full-length article in the New York Times. You can pitch local publications. You can do micro things, take micro actions, and all of these little things add up over time to contribute to your authority and credibility. And when these things are living online, and if you have the right keywords and people are searching for somebody, and you can come up. You don't need to be this like guru expert. You can just be somebody that's always out there sharing your ideas, sharing your point of view, sharing your perspective. But you know, you also can go ahead and pitch the bigger publications. You just need to know how to do it and how to talk to journalists and the media so that they are interested in you. And in fact, yesterday, I had an incredible podcast interview. It hasn't come out yet on my podcast, which is called Sugar Coated. And I interviewed a woman who owns her own public relations agency in New York City. And I can't wait to release this podcast because she gave incredible tips on what you need to do in order to gain media coverage. And another thing that you can do to demonstrate and build your authority is you can submit yourself for industry awards. There are so many awards out there in many, many different categories. You don't need somebody to nominate you. You can do a search, you can find industry awards, and you can actually submit yourself. And when you have those awards, even if they're a little obscure, it demonstrates that you've gone that extra mile and you've written things to attract attention to yourself. And then if you've won, you should be very proud of those, because there are committees that you know, rank and rate and give those awards out. So definitely look and find some awards that you can submit yourself to. All ways to build and demonstrate authority. And there are so many more, but these are just a few. So my question to you in closing is, what will you build? Now is a great time to build your personal brand, to really take stock and build your business, to find your voice and your unique point of view, to grow your audience, start reaching out to them and talking to them and have deep conversations with them so that you can establish your trust and create your body of work that you are very proud of. So that ends my presentation. I hope I gave you a little taste of something. And if you want to follow me, I'm on social media, basically under She Leads Media, Instagram, Twitter. I have the She Leads Podcast Network, things like that. If you do want to reach out to me separately, you can send me an email at adrienne@sheleadsmedia.com. And please take a look around my website. I've just redesigned it. There's still some little glitches in there, so you know, be gentle. But it's sheleadsmedia.com, and you can navigate to the She Leads Podcast Network, which is a network of women's voices. So there are several shows that are on the network right now, and we're adding new shows all of the time. So I think we have about 5 shows up there. 2 of those are mine. But you'll be listening to so much more content, incredible content by women for women in the coming months. So thank you so much. And I am here to answer any questions that you might have.